Welcome to CircleYXE Online. My name is Austin, and we are so glad that you've joined us this morning. In a few moments, we're going to sing a couple of songs, and we have an interview with Pastor Eldon and Bev Boldt. But before we do that, we would love it if you would say hello in the chat. We are so happy that you're with us this morning. If you're new to Circle, welcome here. We would love to connect with you. So fill out a connection card at the top right of your screen or send us a message on Facebook. We would love to connect with you this week. We want to thank you for your continued support and generosity of the work of Circle in our city. Thank you so much. We are now going to throw it to David, Darcy, and Bree for music. Enjoy.
Who am I that the highest king would welcome? I was lost, but he brought me in. Oh, his love for me. Oh, his love for me. Who the sun sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I last he has ransomed his grace runs deep. While I was a slave to sin, Jesus died for me. Yes, he died for me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child. Say
amazing love that welcomes me, the kindness of mercy that bought with blood wholeheartedly my soul undeserving. God, you're so good. God, you're so good. God, you're so good. You're so good to me.
Behold the cross, age to age, hour by hour. The dead are raised, the sinner saved, the work of your power. God, you're so good. God, you're so good. God, you're so good. You're so good to me.
God, you're so good. God, you're so good. God, you're so good. You're so good to me. I am blessed, I am called, I am healed, I am whole, I am saved in Jesus' name. Highly favored, anointed, filled with your power for the glory of Jesus' name. I am blessed, I am called, I am healed, I am whole, I am saved in Jesus' name. Highly favored, anointed, filled with your power for the glory of Jesus' name. And should this life bring suffering, Lord, I will remember what Calvary has bought for me, both now and forever. God, you're so good. God, you're so good. God, you're so good. You're so good to me. God, you're so good. You're so good to me.
Thanks so much, team. That was great. If you're just tuning in, welcome here. We're so glad that you've joined us. We are about to throw it to our interview with Pastor Eldon and Bev, but before we do that, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day. We thank you that we can gather together digitally. We just want to lift up Pastor Eldon and Bev Boldt to you, Lord. We just thank you so much for the last 30 years of their ministry, God, and we pray that you would bless them as they move to the next stage of their life. God, I pray that you'd be with us and that we would hear your story through theirs. Amen.
Well, hello and welcome to Circle. Today it's my privilege to be joined by our pastor couple, Pastor Eldon and Bev Boldt. Welcome here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It is great to have you guys. It's kind of a weird weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very much so.
It's your last weekend in this role.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel?
Kind of weird.
Yeah.
Weird feeling, but this is the final part.
Well, we want to take the time today to reminisce a little bit, to look at 30 years of history. I mean, wow, what a legacy. And it's been amazing 30 years. And I know it's been some high points and maybe some lower points, but we're going to just ask you some questions and look at all of that history. So why don't we start with what are some of your earliest memories of ministry here at Circle?
Yeah, the first part was just a feeling of being overwhelmed, like, wow, you're counting on us. It was kind of overwhelming, but great people that supported us and allowed for some of our mistakes and exuberance, and we had a great beginning.
Yeah. I don't think we knew how young we were.
No.
Found out over time that we were way too young to be doing that, but not at the time. God uses the young.
Oh, that's good. So when you look back at this time, as you reflect, who are some of your mentors or people that helped you, supported or encouraged you in those early years?
There weren't a lot of hands-on local mentors because our vision and mandate was unique. But we looked to people who were successful in other places, Willow Creek, Saddleback. These were cutting-edge churches that really loved people and loved to see others come to know Jesus. And so those were some of our early mentors and some of the books that we read.
That is really cool. And it certainly has put a stamp in the city of being a church that leads in that way. So that's exciting. Now, I have a question for Bev specifically. You've had the most behind-the-scenes look at Eldon at his time here at Circle. How have you seen Eldon grow over the years? How have you seen God at work in Eldon's life?
Well, that really has been a story all of its own. And like Eldon said, when we first came, we were very young, but we had such a deep drawing from God. He had spoke to both of us so clearly to be here. And that was really the foundation of us even showing up and saying, presuming we could even do that. It was the strong direction that God gave us to be here. So when Eldon came, was his motivation. He had heard from God. He knew what God was asking him to do, and his character and personality is so perseverant and so reliable and dependable and faithful and trustworthy that I trusted what God was doing, what he wanted to do. And over the years, I could see how God was settling in on his spirit, growing him into a man of faith and of strength and of conviction and of compassion and empathy and apathy. he really defined a shepherd. And it was so evident to me. And I was just really in awe of the type of shepherd that he was. And sometimes, especially back in the early 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever they were, often lead pastors were expected to be very gregarious and very loud and very outgoing. And Eldon is not that style, but his soul is loud and gregarious, and it speaks for itself. And I've just I've grown to trust God because of what I've seen him do in Eldon.
Wow.
I wasn't confident. I can say that much. I think Bev believed more in me than I did. So we were true partners in that. She would talk me off the ledge many times. The job was overwhelming. And Bev has an ability to hear God's voice. And when she spoke to me, it was like God speaking to me as well. And so I gained strength in this partnership.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow, thank you for sharing that. Earlier you said we felt like we were too young, but the sense of call was so real.
Yeah.
That you can, wow. And then God transforming and growing in you and through you and speaking and using you both in this way. That's amazing. Wow. I guess I would ask the question out of that, what are some specific maybe lessons that God was teaching you along the way in your ministry?
I think that I understood that we were in the lineage of people of faith. And so I had to learn the lessons of trusting God. And the very early days, we were so financially strapped in this church. In fact, in my interview, they told me the debt load that we had, and was that a concern? And I was too naive to really know that should have been. And so we kind of learned to trust God, that he would be our provider. At one point, the bank called all of our loans, and it was kind of a defining moment where I told the treasurer, as I put the key to the church on the desk, tell the bank to come and get the key and we'll move on. And we just trusted God that he would supply, and he did. And within a couple of years, that debt was completely liquidated. And I realized it wasn't us. It was learning a legacy of faith, a rich legacy of faith. I often read the history of how we began and what the pastors had to do and what they believed. And we stood on the shoulders of people in the past. And that was a great lesson.
Wow.
Yeah. I think one of the lessons, like, how long do we have? We could be here for days. We might have to write this down sometime. But I think one of the things that stands out for me is that when we came here, because of that very clear, it was kind of a burning bush kind of moment for us, which is another long story, but it was what led us to knowing that we should be here. And me being young and naive and just so full of trust and faith in God, I somehow had this weird idea that because we are so in the center of God's will, he is going to bless and prosper and grow this church. And I didn't know it doesn't work that way. You can be in the center of God's will, but you are also in the bullseye of an enemy that cannot let it happen. And we came up against that. And the overall huge lesson, I think, that came out of like maybe a decade of that type of struggle is that we live for that audience of one. we answer to him and we answer to his call, and we do our best every single day to fulfill that call, and the rest can't rule.
That's good. Thank you for sharing that. You know, I want to just encourage you as you see this as this is your last weekend in this role, that you have left a legacy, just like the legacy that you picked up, Pastor Eldon, when you came in, that is strong and firm in foundation, and it leaves the next generation in really good hands because of your faithfulness to the calling and to the audience of one, of living for God and being faithful to your vision and to the call that God has placed in your heart for this place locally. So I'm so thankful for that. Now, I see the emotion, and I don't know if the camera's picking it up, coming through as you share these stories. And I mean, I know that you wear your heart on your sleeve, and I have some great moments in staff meetings where we will be talking about things and you'll begin to smirk a little bit. And I know there's a great story coming up. And I love hearing those stories, and it gives us such a great insight, and we have such a great camaraderie on our staff. So I appreciate that so much about you. But what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to ask Bev the question here.
Ready?
So we often refer to you guys as a lead couple because it takes a team, as you said. It takes a team to be a lead pastor couple here at Circle. And I want to kind of find out from Bev first, but what are some of your favorite moments here at Circle? What are some of your favorite stories or things that have happened?
Boy, I'll think of the best ones after we're done here. In a day or two, I'll think of the
Isn't
best
that always
ones.
the way? Yeah.
But there are many. We had some. Oh, did we have some fun around here? Particularly, and most of my fondest memories really revolve around having our children and being part of ministries that involved our children, where it wasn't just Eldon on the platform, but we could kind of be a family doing things. And of course, one of the things that really comes to mind during their growing up years was when we were doing the Singing Christmas Tree.
Oh, yes.
And that event, I mean, it was the most fantastic, and it is still talked about. Like, I would just love to be able to do those days again. However, Pastor Wayne and Blair Mills and Carol Rice wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole because for them it was ridiculously stressful, almost to the point of not being worthwhile. But for the rest of us that were involved at a lesser, just a participant level, we had so much fun, and the kids had so much fun, and they would always be part of the choir. I was part of the choir, and the kids that would come, they were running amok. Like, if you could see what was going on back there, these kids, it would come for their part to come out on stage and look angelic and sing something about forks and knives or something. And they could be red-faced and sweaty and hardly catching their breath because they had such a good time back there. Those moments together, I think, still are some of our fondest, when the kids were just kind of on the loose around here, playing hide and seek in the dark, and just family memories mean the most.
Yeah. Well, Singing Christmas Tree is definitely a trademark of Circle and is very well known in Saskatoon, very well known. Do you guys have any other stories? I know people see the success part of the production and of the ministry of that time, but I know it takes a lot of hard work to make all those things happen and all the pieces come together. Is there any stories that?
Well, I remember Blair and Wayne would come to my office in the summertime, and we'd start pitching ideas. And these guys had no reverence for anything, and some of the ideas were just like crazy. Like you mentioned, the forks and knives, and these kids dressing up as mice. It had no
little people.
Oh my goodness! And I think, oh my goodness, we're going to get in trouble, but this is going to be really good. And then dealing with live animals. I remember the donkey every year, and Al Beaumont would go pick it up, and we had a veterinarian to help it relax and do an enema before showtime. So, those were special times.
Well, what probably people don't know either is in the tree, it came from the platform nearly to the ceiling. So there was staggered platforms and platforms of singers. And what we ended up having to do was actually have a contingency plan, a triage plan, because for some of the people that got up into the higher levels and the heat and whatnot, people would faint. Like some of us just keeled over.
Oh my goodness.
So we ended up having this plan where if the person beside you is going down, you very discreetly lower them down, fill in the gap, and there was somebody coming up under the tree to perform like recovery methods and get water and bring them out the side.
A fainting plan.
A fainting plan. And I remember one time particularly, there was always smoke. Smoke always makes a good show. We need the smoke. But somebody turned the smoke on way too much. And I was way up high. And there was so much smoke in here, I could not see the audience. I couldn't see the choir director. And we're kind of like,
oh my
okay,
goodness.
What's going on? We were just trying to keep a tune. It was hilarious.
Oh man.
Good times.
It was. And we got a reputation that it was safe for people who aren't used to church to come, and they enjoyed the kind of the show, but they also got the message. It was a great season.
Oh, what an amazing story. Now, to allow things like that to happen with the singing Christmas tree takes a lot of creativity, which takes a lot of courage to be forward thinking, to say, yeah, let's do this. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I think creativity was a value. And when we worked with younger staff, they had a lot of creativity. Some of it can go over the edge, but we played along. So Sherry was children's minister at the time, had lots of different ideas. So we had Eldon King Live, we had Eldon's Angels instead of Charlie's Angels. I remember the Sunday that she came on the platform with some of her cheerleaders, and they were actually the guys dressed up as girls, and it was right at the end of a worship package, and you could just see the awe and shock of the people as they were coming onto the stage. And even with Sherry, I don't think it played out in their mind that way.
No, we didn't see it going that way.
No, not at all. But, I always wanted kids to have a good time. And they learn when they're laughing.
Yeah.
And they were engaged, and they got the gospel in addition. So, even our younger staff, like John, was part of that. He was a kid growing up and then rose to leadership. And so creativity is really important to get the message across.
And just that culture and atmosphere to be able to make mistakes maybe, or to push the envelope. And yet to be able to flourish and grow and to learn and to be coached through those experiences. Now, you've mentioned about...
and that's an important value, Paul, because it takes older, mature congregants to accept that.
Yeah.
We grew up in an era where stodginess was mistaken for godliness. And they could see the value of it and encouraged it and supported us in it. We owe a lot to those who went before us.
Yeah. And as we owe to you guys. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. You mentioned about John. I do want to make a point, as this is going to go live, that there are YouTube videos of John as a youth here at Circle doing dancing, doing singing, different things. So
Sign me up for that.
Some research on Google and some Googling of John. Maybe we'll find a link and we'll post it for people to check it out on chat and just to see some of his performances. Now, I also know that not Larry King Live,
Eldon King Live.
Eldon King Live. There are videos of that as well. So
we'll keep that a secret.
Well, I wonder if we'll try to find some maybe for people to enjoy, because they are great. They're creative. They're memorable, and they engage people with the gospel, with the good news of Jesus, and then we can have fun together and be creative and connect with people in different ways. So I'm really thankful for that. So that's a little bit of fun stuff. Just to continue that ball rolling, this has been such a rich conversation already so far. But I want to ask you, what advice would you give the next generation of leaders?
one thing that comes to my mind is to pay attention to the trends of culture. And ask God to give you ways in which to communicate God's story in the culture.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of the crowd. Don't be afraid of the critics. Do what God is asking you to do. Find a way to make that old story relevant to today. We have some great younger leaders coming up the ranks.
Yeah.
So I would encourage them and tell them to be bold, take the risks you need to, be dependent on God.
I would say, which is kind of obvious and sounds kind of ridiculous, like we all know this, but the older we have gotten and the more of the path that we have gone in ministry, the more it is evident that we have hardly touched the iceberg of who Jesus is and the gospel that he brought. Do not ever sit back and think that you know who and what Jesus was about, because I can guarantee you we don't. And through every cycle of life, you find out a new version of him, a new aspect of him. Through the circumstances, you even just your aging process. In your 20s, Jesus and God looked like this. In the 30s, he looks like this. Then things get real crazy in the 40s, and it's like, I don't even know. Like, there is so much to know about Jesus. So I would tell the young people, just be a hound for trying to discover through reading the stories, even just the parables, even just take your Bible and look at the red letters in it. Just study the red letters in your New Testament. Just be a hound for getting to know who Jesus is, because you'll find that there's nothing irrelevant about him. In fact, he is so far ahead of us. We think we've really invented the wheel and we're so innovative and we're so ahead of everything. We're not. Jesus was way out there and we are just barely catching up with him. I would say just grab on to the edge of his garment. I often have a visual with myself through these ministry days. It's been a wild ride, and we're not getting into some of the wild parts, but a visual that I have had that I don't know, might just sound crazy, but we have kind of been hanging on to the hem of Jesus' garments, and he has been charging through this city and through this world, and we are hanging on, and the dust is flying, and it is a mess, and I can't see, and some of the time I'm crying, I can't catch my breath, and he'll just suddenly stop and look back and smile and say, so, how's it going? Are you coming? I'm coming. And off we go again. Just never get comfortable if you are not hanging on to the edge of his garment and watching the dust fly and seeing what he wants to do. Because he is not boring. He is not stagnant. He is way beyond what we are even ready for. But we get to have a little piece of that. Just lean into it if you're young. You will never waste your life hounding after Jesus to find out what he's about, what you're about, what the purpose is about. It is so worthy.
Wow.
And you touch on something that get outside of your comfortable environments. That's where you see him in a different way, different light. You're experiencing him in a different way than you ever will when you are in your comfort zone.
Yeah.
I think something that is really critical, and we've learned this the hard way, we have learned by not doing, and we've learned by doing. And at this stage, at the age we are, and through the ministry, through all these years, it has become very evident that something that to me is very critical for the new generation is to stand on the shoulders of the generation that came before. Every one of us think we've invented the wheel. Right. In our 30s, we are just all that in a bag of chips. And we think, we look at our past church experience and go, oh, I will never do that. And those people acted like this and that. The fact is, that's just in the particulars of the way in their generation, in the lifestyle that was demanded of their generation. They had to behave in certain ways, wear a suit, was Christian, all of that sort of thing. It's just the particulars. What isn't the particulars is that no matter what you think of what a previous generation's ministry was, it was built on faith, and God had appointed whoever that was doing a good job, maybe not a good job, or not the job you would do. It doesn't matter. There is a legacy that God leaves of passing on a mantle to generations. And they made sacrifices, and they prayed, and they gave. And had they not done that, we would never be standing here today. And in generations after we're gone, you may not want to do it the way we do it. There could be a shift all the way back and do something else, and you can say, oh, that Eldon Bev, I can't believe he. That's fine. Generations, it's like styles, hairstyles, fashion. You look back at yourself 10, 20 years and go, what was I thinking? You might look back and go, what were they thinking? But the fact of the matter is God was here, and he was present, and he was speaking, and we have sacrificed, and we have prayed, and we have dedicated ourselves to do the best that we can for the gospel. And the next generation doesn't have to do what we did, but they will be standing on our shoulders, as will the generation that follows them. I think we just need a real healthy respect to our legacy, to our heritage, that we don't have to agree with the way things were done, but we have to acknowledge that God was in it. There was faithful people praying and giving and sacrificing, just as we have. So, have a great time and do some weird stuff, do some new stuff, but you're able to do that because of the faithful that have come before, and it will carry on. It's just the cycle of life, and it is wonderful.
Yeah.
We gained great inspiration from reading the history of the leaders before us.
Yeah.
Right from 1933 on. Amazing people doing innovative things, but always the same heart. And I think there's something to be gained by the laws of origin and the calling that God had on this church and how it has played out through the years.
Yeah, that's really good. The legacy and standing on the shoulders of giants before us. What a great advice. Thank you, guys. When you look back at your life, what are some of the moments that shaped you when it comes to your ministry vision for this place?
I grew up in a great home, good parents. I knew they loved God. My mom was a prayer warrior, so I came from good stock. We were part of a church, good people, really good people. But there was maybe my perspective where I saw that their faith included a religious component. So there were a lot of do's and don'ts.
Sure.
And so part of it was that you hung with your own people. So I was not allowed to play community sports, for example. I couldn't go to my friends' homes from my classroom, couldn't go to their birthday parties. I couldn't dance, even though I can't even now dance.
Wow, that's why.
Yeah, I know, it was hard. So there was a lot of, regulations, rules. And in grade 4, there was a girl that moved to the city from another province and was living with her uncle and aunt. So I knew there was some brokenness there. And all of the kids were invited to a birthday party, which I could not go to. And part of the birthday party was to go to a movie, which was another you shall not. At the birthday party, they went to this movie. So the next week in school, her name was Sandra. Sandra got up for show and tell. And she said, we were at this movie. And I put 2 and 2 together as she described it. It must have been a Christian movie. She said at the end of the movie, there was a man at the front of the theater that said, we've talked about a relationship with Jesus. If you'd like a relationship with Jesus, come forward. She went forward the man led her in a prayer to receive Christ. As she was telling this story in show and tell, my heart was pounding. And I thought, I have got to get her to church. And then my next thought was, I could never, ever bring her to my church.
Wow.
It would never accept her and would introduce her to such antithetical concepts from the Christianity that she just embraced. So that, to me, was a guiding principle of life. When we got into ministry, we said, you know what? There are hundreds of Sandras out there. And this church should be a place where they can come, they can belong before they believe, and God will take them the next way to become what they are intended to become. So Sandra has been my mantra for all these years, to create a church that the unchurched love to attend, where there would be grace and acceptance, there would be authenticity, that you can be broken and you can be accepted. And so that's really been a defining moment for myself in ministry.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that story. There are so many Sandras that have been part of Circle because of that vision and mission to care for someone who didn't know Jesus, but to have a place for them to be accepted as they begin their journey and their search. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Paul. It's been a pleasure.
It has been a pleasure. And I know this is the last weekend in this capacity, but I'm sure I'll be bugging you lots on the phone. I look forward to talking to you a lot more.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us at Circle.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been an honor, and we've been privileged.
Yep,
We've been privileged.
for sure.
Us have
Great
we.
church,
Yeah.
great people.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say thank you for being a friend. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say thank you for being a friend.
Eldon and Bev, we love you and God bless you in this next chapter of your life.
Thank you for years.
Hi, Eldon and Bev. This is your Foxy Mama. I want you to know I'll be praying for you as you go boldly into the future.
Eldon, thank you for being my one and only pastor for 30 years.
Thank you guys for what you've done for our family, for the privilege of serving with you, and for your strong vision. We love you guys.
Thank you for mentoring us, marrying us, and dedicating all of our kids.
Our family is who we are in large part because of you. We love you.
Thank you!
Eldon and Bev, wow, 30 years. Thank you for all you've done for Circle and for our family.
We want to say we love you and we wish you all the best in the days to come.
Hi, Eldon and Bev. Wishing you the best as you retire. It's been great working with you for the past 15 years. I hope you find some great hot weather to enjoy soon.
Congratulations on your retirement, Eldon. I think you're going to love it. Looking forward to seeing you on Coffee Row. Blessings.
Eldon and Bev, we are forever grateful for your ministry and your leadership, especially for how God used you to impact our lives during our time together at Circle Drive.
Eldon.
Bev, we need 10 years, not 10 seconds, to talk about all that you mean to us.
That's for sure.
Congratulations on your retirement. We love you.
Hi, Eldon.
Eldon and Bev. Sending love. Miss you.
God bless you and congratulations, Bev and Eldon, as you start this new adventure in life. The future is bright.
Congratulations on 30 awesome years, Eldon and Bev. Melody and I are so thrilled to wish you all the best. You've done an amazing thing for Circle, and we love you.
Hi, Bev and Pastor Eldon. Thanks for your ministry. We will really miss you.
Enjoy your retirement.
Bev, thanks for your words. Every time you speak, God uses you. And I pray that going forward, you and Eldon will have a powerful and rich ministry wherever God leads you.
We love you and cherish our relationship with you, which is ongoing. We're just so thankful for you and just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Eldon and Bev, for your years of ministry to Circle Drive Alliance Church. God bless you guys.
Hi, Pastor Eldon and Bev. I hope and pray that you will take great comfort knowing that you have run the race and finished the course, at least this leg of the journey at Circle. Thank you for the very many years you have given to us at Circle Drive. Enjoy a Sabbath rest for however long it takes to recharge your batteries. Love you and bless you.
Thanks for marrying us. Thanks for the love, teaching, and guidance you've provided in shaping this family over the 30 years that you've been here. Enjoy retirement.
Love you!
Woo!
Thank you, Pastor Eldon and Bev, for all your years of leadership.
And all the best in the next chapter of your life. We love you.
Happy retirement to Eldon and Bev. We love you and will miss you dearly.
And thank you for your friendship that goes back to high school youth group at University Drive Alliance Church. Thanks.
Hi, Eldon and Bev. Thank you so much for the way you have put so much of yourselves into our lives. We love you. Take care.
Hey, Eldon and Bev. It's so hard to say goodbye, but we love you and we've treasured our years together. 30 years together. Have a great retirement.
Hi, Bev and Eldon. We wanted to say happy retirement and thank you. Thank you for officiating our wedding. Thank you for dedicating Evelyn. And thank you for being part of our lives.
Hi, Mom and Dad. We're so happy to celebrate 30 years with you guys. We've had so many amazing memories. We met as kids in the church. You married us many years later. We love you so much.
We love you. We're so proud of you, and we're excited that you get to watch your grandchildren. We love you.
Goodbye, Pastor Eldon and Bev.
Pastor Eldon and Bev, we just want you to know from the Wagner family that we have loved you so much. You have served for so long, and we just really appreciate you.
Congratulations, Eldon and Bev.
Thank you for your many years of faithful service.
We wish you all the best in your retirement.
And may God's blessings be upon you today and always.
We love you.
We want to hope the best for you. The best of the life, my friend. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. See you soon.
Pastor Eldon and Bev, we are so going to miss you guys. Thank you for all your years of service and being a part of our family all these years. Take care and God bless you guys.
Thank you for making Circle Drive a home for all of us. We love you.
Thanks, Eldon and Bev. I love you and I will miss you.
Hello, Eldon. I want to say thank you for letting me feel like I was part of a team, and I hope you and Bev enjoy the next phase in your lives.
Congratulations, Eldon and Bev. Thank you for your years of service that we have enjoyed with you. Many blessings on your retirement.
Thanks so much for all of your service to Circle Drive. Eldon, thanks for your great vision in leading the church. Bev, thanks for your amazing insights. Both of you, thank you for your faith.
Eldon, remember you as a pastor with a shepherd's heart, easily moved to moist eyes at the thought of somebody being lost, supported by your loving wife, Bev, who is so faithful and kind. And also, we'll miss you, and we knew you were part of the Rash family.
Congratulations, Pastor Eldon and Bev, on your retirement. Love from the Thiessen family.
Pastor Eldon and Bev, thank you for 29 years of friendship, leadership, mentoring us, and baptizing us.
May God bless you as you enter the next chapter of your lives.
Bye. We love you. Take care. See you around.
'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do. Oh yeah. You'll always have my shoulder when you cry. I'll never let go, never say goodbye. You know you can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do. Oh yeah. You can count on me 'cause I can count on you.
$999,999,999,999.
Thanks so much, Paul, Eldon, and Bev. That was an amazing interview. And thank you for joining us. We want to keep the conversation going, so plan an online meetup with your Circle group and post a picture using the hashtag CircleYXE online, or connect with a friend this week. We are so glad that you joined us this week, and we hope you have a great rest of your Sunday.